Hello Toy Collector fans, Universal Toy Collector here and welcome to the channel. Join me in today's video for the full season review of the Skeleton Crew. Will it be Skeleton Crew or will it be Boo Skeleton Poo? Okie dokie then. So, the latest installment of Disney's Star Wars, The Skeleton Crew, has run its course over on Disney Plus. 8 episodes long. Not very long episodes, though, were they? But never mind. So, what I'm going to do then is, as stated, give a full season review. I'm going to be looking at the casting and acting, story and writing, production, and I will be giving my overall thoughts at the end. And remember, these are just my thoughts and opinions. It doesn't make me wrong. It doesn't make me right. Some of you might even agree with me. Others, you might not agree with me. Both are fine, but just don't be a dick about it if you don't agree with me. But there you are. Anyhow, let's move on, shall we, to the casting and acting, starting with this young man. Now, I'm hoping I pronounce his name right. This is Rave Kabo Conyers, who played Wim. Now, I haven't seen this kid in any other TV series, so I've got nothing to compare him to. But overall, I thought he did a decent job. He acted the part well, a likable character, the dreamer and the adventurer of the group, also the instigator. He wanted to go off and do stuff, so he kind of instigated that. There was a bit of depth to the character. He showed plenty of emotion when needed, so I liked that. But as well as his performance was, please, can someone teach this kid how to run? There's one scene at the end of the in the last episode, should I say, where he ran from Jod to his dad, and I was like, what the hell was that? What is it with kids and these TV series and they can't run? Absolutely ridiculous. It looked ridiculous, and yeah, they need to improve on that. But anyhow, like I say, overall, the kid did a decent job. Moving on, we have, again, hoping I pronounce her name right. This is Ryan Kira Armstrong, who played Fern. Again, not seen her in anything else, so I've got nothing to compare her to. But for the most part, I think she played the part well. For me, she come across as the cool kid at the start, and then as the season went on, she took it upon herself, or early on, she took it upon herself that she was going to be the leader of the group. And then later on in the series, she admitted that she didn't know what she was doing, and maybe she'd bit off a little bit more than she could chew. But like I say, overall, I thought she was a strong character. Again, played the emotions well, which I liked. So yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. So moving on to this young man. So this is Robert Timothy Smith. He played Neil. Now you didn't see him as the actor, so I'm guessing he physically played the part and he lent his voice to the character. Again, first time I've seen him in anything, so there you are. But I thought he played the part well, although, like I say, you didn't get to see him as an actor. For me, Neil is the character that comes across to me as the typical comedy relief sidekick. He had that bit of humor about him. He also come across as the nervous one of the group, not wanting to get into trouble or do anything. He was kind of straight laced in that respect. But there was some strange focus on seeing him in the bath, which, yeah, I think that I don't know why they concentrated on him being in the bath, but I'm guessing that was his character. And like I say, that little bit of light comedy relief for him there. Right. Okay. So that was Neil. Moving on. Again, hoping I pronounced the name right. I think it's Kerry-Ann Crater. She played KB. As with the others, first time I've seen her in anything. But overall, I thought she played her part well. She was the quieter one of the group, the tech savvy one of the group. And in my opinion, she came into her own as a character after coming out of the shadow of the more dominant Fern. So at the start of the series, Fern was that dominant female character, and KB kind of like hid behind that. But as I say, the series went on, and her character came out more, which I thought was really good. And again, she had the emotion and she played the part really, really well. So, yeah, good stuff from her. Moving on, we have Jude Law as Jod Nar Narwood. Now, I've seen Jude Law and other stuff. I think he's a great actor. A strong performance from him, but this is what I would have expected from Jude Law, to be honest with you. So there was some mystery behind the character. Was he a Jedi? Was he a good guy or a bad guy? In the end, we found out he was briefly trained as a Jedi, but for the most part, he was a pirate stroke con man, just interested in wealth and riches. And there was lots of depth to this character. You had some sort of like responsible moments from him, some caring moments. Then you had some dark moments, especially in that scene where he's got the lightsaber and he's got the 4 kids kneeling in front of him. I thought that was quite dark, saying that he's going to slay their families and stuff like that. Now he's seen their faces. And when he challenged Fern to the duel down in the tomb or the room with all the riches, holding a knife to her throat. So again, I thought that was a bit dark, but there you are. But overall, yeah, I thought he played the part well. Moving on. Okay. Nick Frost, the voice of SM33. Now, we didn't see Nick Frost as a character, but as we know, he lent his voice to this pirate droid, which the group of kids encountered on the Ionic Cinder. SM33 being a reference to Smee in Peter Pan. I mean, if they want to, I'll get to that in a bit, but never mind. Overall, I could take or leave this character. He was okay to start with, but the pirate voice did really start to grate me as the season went on. I just thought it was a bit too much, in my honest opinion. But there you go. So, like I say, to be honest with you, I don't think I'm a big fan of this character. He looks cool, but he just don't sound right. I'd have preferred it if he had a more droid-like voice as opposed to a pirate voice like that, which he had, and that was probably the worst pirate impression ever. But there you go. Moving on. So this is Fred Tatascore again. Hoping I pronounced his name right. He played Brutus, the most interesting and best-looking character in the series, who turned out to be very underwhelming. As cool as he looked, you just didn't really see him do anything, did you? Didn't see him didn't see him do anything of note, should I say? So personally, I would have liked to have seen him do more. Then, to rub salt in the wound for being underwhelming, he went out with a whimper. He got caught in a giant claw, then got shot. So yeah, again, disappointing. You see him in the trailer, you see him at the start of the series, and you think, wow, this guy's going to be cool. There's going to be lots of depth to this character. There was nothing really. So so there you are. Just moving on quickly then to another couple of actors. First one was Kerry Condon. She played Farah, Fern's mum. So I've seen Kerry Condon in other TV series, most notably Rome, a few years back. She also lent the voice of Friday in the MCU universe. And she was also in an episode of Walking Dead. So this next gentleman, not seen him in anything that I can remember. Again, hoping I pronounce his name right. Tunde Adibembe or Adi Bimpe. Tunde Adibimpe, that's it. He played Wendell, and that was Wim's dad. Again, overall, I thought he did a good job. He played the part well. Fairly strong acting. But so as far as the acting is concerned, then overall the characters were believable, and for me that is down to the actors by putting in the performances and making those characters believable. The dynamics and the relationships between the group of kids was strong. I like that. Yeah, that was very good. So I mean, these kids are at the start of their acting careers, so I thought overall the group did really well. They were kids, obviously, but they acted as kids, and they acted in such a manner which is pretty good. They didn't try to be anything other than kids, and I thought that was quite cool. Yeah, as I said, showing different emotions as the series went on. Okay, then, so moving on to the story and writing. This series was a self-contained story that doesn't affect any other series within Star Wars. So it's basically a standalone series. And I'm really happy they've done that. They've not meddled with any other Star Wars series at all. They've not sort of like linked it to any other Star Wars, which is great in my opinion. And I'm hoping they keep it that way if they do decide to make a series 2. So this story then focuses on a group of kids who set off on an unexpected adventure, then spend the rest of the series trying to get back home, visiting different planets and encountering various aliens, and finding out that the galaxy can be a dark and dangerous place, unlike their home planet Atatin, where everyone is pretty much controlled and wrapped up in cotton wool. So yeah, Atatin is their home planet, which is hidden away from the rest of the galaxy behind a great barrier, controlled by one giant robot. And you have lots of different robots that are going around policing the area. And I would say they are a very naive community. Um, they don't really know what's going on in the outside world. And yeah, it's a really weird. It was never explained, so I don't get that. But there you go. So they eventually find their way home, and then the series came to an abrupt end. Yeah, how about that for the end of a series? I don't know whether they've done that to want the audience wanting more. I don't know whether they've done it as a doorway into a season 2. Again, I don't know. But look, listen, the way it ended, it has left certain questions unanswered. You know, what happened to Jod? Did he get arrested? Did he get away? I'm guessing we're going to never know if they don't do a season 2. Um, so I find this really frustrating, but typical of today's writing. Like I say, I don't know whether they do it on purpose to leave the audience wanting more and then um, leaving the door open for a season 2. Anyhow, for the most part, I like the fact that there was a constant story arc. Yeah, that was cool. The story was pretty like consistent all the way through, wasn't it? It didn't deviate too much down different routes and stuff like that. It didn't get confusing. It was just one long story arc. Even though I felt they could have been, or the story could have been expanded upon in certain areas. There was plenty of character development, which I like, and as we know, is important to any story. The kids' characters were written in a way that made them easy to relate to because everybody wants to relate to something these days, don't they, when they're watching something on TV? So there you go. You could see the different emotions that they were going through, which I liked. And again, that's testament to the actors. The dynamic between Wim and his father changed throughout the course of the series. So that was written well. Starting off as your typical child parent relationship where the parent is too busy for the child. Then at the end of the series, the bond between the parent and child has grown stronger. So yeah, I like the way that they've kind of put that in, and like I'm guessing most people can relate to that, can't they, with their parents? So there you are. Overall, it wasn't a complicated story to follow. I did want more from the end, but overall, it was a fun story. So yeah, there you go. Moving on to production. Again, this is going to be quite brief. Look, I thought the quality of production was a very high level, and some of the cinematography was absolutely stunning. It really was movie quality. The overall look of the series was very good, from the sets to the special effects. This would have looked good on the big screen. Yeah, absolutely. Some of those scenes and cinematography were absolutely fantastic, and that did kind of make it feel Star Warsy to a point. But yeah, I like the ship designs. I like the design of the aliens. You know, you saw some familiar faces in there. But yeah, overall, I thought it was good. Awesome stuff. Okay, then. So moving on to my overall thoughts, and remember, these are just my thoughts and opinions, so it doesn't make me right or wrong. So, as fun as this series was, and as good as it looked, was it a good Star Wars series? Well, in my honest opinion, no. No, it wasn't. For me personally, there were far too many elements of different IPs in this series. It reminded me of the Goonies, Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dark Crystal, Indiana Jones. Now, when I watch Star Wars, I want to see, feel, and think Star Wars and not be thinking, this reminds me of the Goonies or the Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, come on. The Onyx Cinder, a great ship, but it might as well have been the Black Pearl from Pirates of the Caribbean. The overuse of the pirate accent was just too much. especially coming from alien species we have seen in the original trilogy, where they spoke Huttese, or at least when they spoke English, you could detect an accent. I get to it a bit more depth in a minute. As much as I thought Neil was okay, what was it with his very human sounding accent? Ridiculous. What is wrong with him speaking in an alien language using subtitles or slight accent? The trouble is today, the audience are too damn lazy to read subtitles, even though as a kid, there were subtitles in Star Wars original series and the prequels that didn't take anything away from it from me. And again, this day and age, people are too easily offended by an alien sounding accent. Absolutely ridiculous. Atatin looked more like a suburb in America, and something like what a future Earth would look like in a Star Trek series or movie. This is the point. Star Wars is meant to be in a galaxy far, far away, and in certain aspects, Star Wars isn't feeling like that anymore. Star Wars is becoming all too familiar with everyday life, and it shouldn't be like that. Stop humanizing it. Yes, you want characters that people can relate to, but you can relate to a character in a galaxy far, far away. I don't see why you've got to humanize everything. It's I don't get it. I don't get it. It just it is frustrating. And to me, if you humanize it, it doesn't feel like a Star Wars series or a Star Wars movie. It just becomes like your average everyday TV series that we, like you say, watch every day. And Star Wars shouldn't be like that. You will get people saying there were loads of nods to Star Wars. They had a lightsaber and X-Wings in the series, as well as original trilogy Aliens. Yes, yes, it did. But adding little nods to Star Wars and putting the Star Wars title on it doesn't necessarily make it Star Wars. For example, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, Close Encounters, all had little nods to Star Wars. But those nods didn't make them a Star Wars movie. They were subtle. The Phantom Menace had a subtle nod to E.T., but it wasn't a film about E.T., was it? It 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 just really does frustrate me. And another way I can put it is it's like putting me in a Liverpool kit and saying, there you go, you play for Liverpool now. It doesn't work like that. So basically, for me, what set Star Wars apart was the fact that it was different from anything else. A universe had been built and a lore was formed as part of that universe, and the storytelling was key. Yes, Star Wars took inspiration from different IPs, but there is a big difference between you taking inspiration from other IPs and subtly putting them into a movie, and taking inspiration from other IPs and basically copying the feel and the look of another IP. Let the other IPs copy Star Wars. Star Wars shouldn't be copying anything else. You shouldn't be. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This for me is the least Star Wars um, feeling series to date. I'm not saying I hate this series. I think this would work as a standalone series without the need to be Star Wars. But you know, there was just too many nods to different IPs, as I've said, and that took the feeling of Star Wars away from me personally. Yeah, I mean, look, even the Acolyte, as shite as that was, it felt Star Warsy because it was set in that time period around Star Wars. You know, the old Republic. It felt very Star Warsy, but the execution was absolutely piss poor. This, on the other hand, you flip it around. The story was decent, the acting was decent, the overall look of the series was decent, but it didn't feel like Star Wars, even though you had nods to Star Wars in it. Anyhow, look, listen, these are just my opinions. Like I say, it doesn't make me right or wrong. I know people that feel the same way. I know people that like the series and they do feel it's Star Wars. And I respect that. I get that. And that's their opinion. And I don't have an issue with that. But yeah, there you go. Anyhow, that's enough from me. So all I've got left to say is if you're new to the channel, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to let you know of more content. And as always, there will be more content. Appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Very much appreciate your support, your generosity, and your friendship. It does mean a hell of a lot. Thank you so much. Take care, stay safe, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.